Most of us can recognize this masterpiece, one of the most famous paintings of the 20th century. Picasso was in Paris when he heard the tragic news that the little town of Gernika had been bombed. Gernika is the heart of Euskadi, the Basque country, made up of 4 provinces in the north of Spain and 3 provinces in the south of France. There they speak a language that is as old as their land, with no traces of any other language, nor knowledge of its origins. My grandfather is here, buried in Gernika, his hometown. He wasn't a victim of the bombing, but the Spanish Civil War eventually took his life too. As if an answer to this urgent curiosity of mine could be written on his tombstone, I bring myself to his grave. Grandpa, I'm your niece from the States. Dad speaks about you all the time, and about what happened during the war. He was just a little boy, but he remembers how the planes came in from the sea into Gernika. One time, you were running away from the bombs. A plane flew over so low, it almost touched your heads. Mom was holding on tight. You fell to your knees and prayed, for you had seen so many people die that way. Dad never forgets that moment. I love you, Grandpa.
He was a good man, your grandfather.
Who is this man? Bringing my grandfather flowers? How does he know?
All the gravestones here are a lot different than they are in Zaragoza. So much was different. Broken tablets, thrown in, void of inscriptions. Nothing like what I see here. This is Basque.
Basques are very religious. The cemetery's older than the Romans. I'm told that here are tombs and caves that go back to ancient times. How do you know my grandfather?
We fought together in the war.
I was here 6 years ago, but this is the first time that I visit my grandfather's grave. I never really contemplated the idea of him being dead. Please, tell me a little bit about him.
Well, you seem to be very young. Do you know anything about the Abraham Lincoln Brigade?
Yes, the International Brigades?
Right. I was a soldier in that brigade. I was stationed in Zaragoza. One night, they brought in a group of Basque deserters from the fascist side who had come over during the night, and I had never seen that before. We offered them what little there was to eat, but it wasn't food that brought them over. They looked stunned, but one man stood out, and he took out some cigarettes to give to his fellow soldiers. It was a generous act at a time when cigarettes were very hard to find. And that man was your grandfather.
I felt as if I was walking out of the cemetery with my grandfather. Only now he spoke English. It didn't matter. I loved the story he had just told me. I wanted to know more. Do you mean to say that my grandfather was first a fascist?
It wasn't a fascist. Franco tried to make the world believe that it was fighting a holy war against communism. And when they bombed the holy Basque city of Gernika, your grandfather felt that he'd been deceived. Later on, other Basques deserted. He wasn't a fascist. He was a humanist, I know.
My father's childhood friend maybe saved his life on the day of the bombing. He invited Dad and another little boy to play on the hill after school. Dad accepted, but the other little boy went home into town, where he died. My name is Begonya.
John Shelley.
Are you here visiting?
Yes, but mainly to pay my respects to your grandfather, my friend, and to honor this tree. This tree has been here for centuries, before this parliamentary building existed. And just imagine that under this tree, Spanish kings used to come to meet with the leaders of the Basque people, to pledge to honor their liberties and their laws. That's why it's important. It's a symbol of independence. And that's why I think Franco wanted to bomb Gernika.
I think so, John. But also, my father said that when they bombed Gernika, the only thing standing was the rifle factory. So he thought that Franco wanted to take over that rifle factory for his own purposes. He thought it was economic. And then the Basque country's so wealthy with industry and minerals and the land. He wasn't going to allow the Basques their independence.
You know, last night I enjoyed a wonderful event, Begonya. That's what's important. To live life to its fullest. It started with music, played by three rather old, rosy-cheeked men full of smoke. They played a music that reminded me more of the Celtic sounds of Ireland than the stomping rhythms of flamenco. And off to the side, there's a man practicing a very strange sport, which consists of rock lifting. Must go back to the Stone Age.
Sounds exciting.
Oh, it was very exciting. But more than that, it was wonderful to see that such a primitive sport is still alive.
How about if you come to my family's house and have some lunch with us?
Great.
You'll meet my baby Caterina.
Ah, how old is she?
6 months. We came to Skadi so that the family could meet her.
I look forward to it.
You know, John, I have a cousin who plays Hayalai. He travels to the States to play. He told me that Hayalai originated in a little town 5 minutes away from here. Do you know that sport?
Oh, I love that sport. I never knew that it originated around here. I've seen it played in Miami. It's such a beautiful town. It's hard to believe that anybody would try to destroy it. If it weren't for Picasso's Gernika, I don't think anybody captured the savagery, the viciousness that destroyed this entire place. You know, there's a story that they say when the Spanish government commissioned Picasso to do a painting, he was so upset by what had happened that he produced Gernika. Well, several months later, some German commission officers went to visit Picasso in his studio in Paris. When they saw a sketch of Gernika, they said, "Did you do this? Can you explain it to us?" And he said, "No, You did it. Can you explain it to me?
What a great story, John. It's great.
That reflected Picasso's attitude.
Lots of people shared that attitude. But since the death of Franco, many things have changed and improved. Now exists democracy. So most Basques are resigned, and some are even happy to be a part of Spain. As long as they can be Basque, live their culture, and speak their language in peace. But there are others, the radicals, who feel it's not enough, and still believe in armed struggle, which was created to fight back the invader, Franco. Lots of people shared that attitude. I remember as a child my father sympathized with the group ETA, who fought to regain certain basic rights and independence for Euskadi. I would have to have been raised here to understand just how deep the hurt goes, and why one could carry the wound and be willing to continue the fight at any cost. I heard John Idigoras in an interview say that the bombing of Gernika was an operation to punish the Basque people, a way to destroy any sign of identity in Euskadi. In other words, to weaken any spirit of struggle and resistance.
See, Franco and his allies, Hitler and Mussolini, thought that by destroying Gernika, they would destroy the emblem of Basque liberties. But they made a mistake. I came back to Euskadi, and every time I see the same pride and love for their land. The children are now speaking Euskera as well as Spanish. When I was here fighting, no one was allowed to speak in Basque. But a sentiment and a responsibility to reconstruct their country was always strong. And the people reflect that feeling.
John insisted on getting something for my family, so we took a walk through the marketplace. Luckily, it was a Monday, market day, just like the day when Gernika was bombed, filled with people from the surrounding villages who would come to sell or buy the produce.
Hey, can we get some flowers?
Sure, John.
Signora, por favor, yo deseo flores para mi familia. Esa.
Esas.
Esa. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
$5.
I see, yeah. Gracias.
Es que ricasco.
Beautiful flowers. Look at these eggs. You can tell they're fresh. They still have feathers on them.
Tokietan, baserrita eskoletan, gure herriko nauzila, izan arte aurrera. Gure herriko nauzila, izan arte aurrera.
And now I'm staying at a small hotel in Bermeo, about a few minutes away from Gernika. I just love watching the women waiting on the piers, waiting for their husbands to bring in the fresh fish. They're the ones who take the fish inside and get it clean and ready to sell. The families own their own ships and are organized so that they split the profits equally amongst themselves. They're a very powerful class, sort of like the gentry in England.
Where are you from, John?
Boise, Idaho.
Maybe Sebastian and Caterina and I can come visit you sometime.
I want you to come. Be my guest. You know, there are a great many Basques in Idaho. Not only that, there are also many in Nebraska and in Nevada and in several other states around that area.
Yeah?
Thousands of Basque children and women and older folk were evacuated to many different countries around the world. And many of these families were never reunited.
Last time I was here, my father introduced me to his best friend, who helped him leave the country in times of trouble. By then, Franco had won the war, and anybody who had opposed him was considered a traitor and was blacklisted out of work.
I know.
You're going to meet Grandpa's brother. He's 102, very healthy and charming. He'll talk your ear off. But he doesn't speak Spanish. He only speaks Euskera. He didn't go to war. He always stayed at home in the caserio. He's never lived in the city or even a village. He stayed in the mountains, farming, sheep herding, cattle raising, and would only come down to the village to sell his produce.
Well, I'm getting more and more excited about meeting your family. How the peasants must have cursed both armies, trampling over their fertile fields.
John Shelley, Pilar.
Salud. ¿Cómo se llama salud en Basque? Osashuna.
My aunt would have preferred me warning her about our surprise guest. But I knew that whatever was on the table would be a delicious treat. We had a special red bean soup, very typical of the region. We also had some fish croquettes, salad, and chicken fresh from the farm. Grandpa Ignacio was very happy to meet John. He was excited to share with us some of his stories, which my cousin Kontxi later translated. So the oldest son would be responsible for the father, to take care
of the father, yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
The family supports each other.
I had never understood why he didn't have to go to the army and my grandfather did. Now I get it. So by law, the oldest son could and should stay home. My little girl won John's heart. Caterina turned him into a playful child. My family, like most Basques, are quite shy, and it takes a while for them to open up. But with John, it was immediate. And once they do, it's for life.
I am now as high as a kite.
To go to school, he would have to go to the caserio next door. A professor would come all the way up. He would give math lessons. He would give, everything in the Basque language. And he never even went to the army.
I want to thank you for a wonderful afternoon, for your hospitality and your spirit. I have to leave tomorrow for America. I bring with it wonderful memories of the Basque people. I wish you all a long life and happiness. And it will be here in my mind to the last day of my life. Thank you again for everything.
Before leaving, we took a short tour around the caserio. We realized that walking to the caserio next door is almost like walking to another town altogether. It soon started to chirimiri, a soft, constant drizzle that spontaneously falls over the land, very typical of the region. So we cut our tour short.
See you later. Grandpa. Sebastian.
Thank you, John, for visiting us, and I hope I'll see you in the States.
We'll see you in the States. You be sure about that. Don't drive me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, John.
Ya vengo.
Okay.
John sounded so sure we'd see him in the States. I wouldn't be surprised. Grandpa's brother, Ignacio, watched us until we disappeared. I wonder what he thought of John and our coincidental encounter. I'm sure that after 102 years of living, nothing surprises him. John, it's been a very special day. Thank you.
Thank you, too. See you later.
That's what it was. Very special to meet this man from the USA, who knew and fought side by side with my grandfather in the name of freedom.